the 2016. You're starting. What might you say to yourself to give yourself an edge, other than like lottery numbers and predicting the future?
I would honestly, um, I think a lot of it would be telling myself who to listen to and who not to.
Okay.
There,
Okay.
yeah, I don't want to, like badmouth
Of course.
certain aspects of the community too much, but it's like community members in particular.
Interesting.
There's some voices that are very helpful, and some voices that are very much like no, this is mine, don't touch it. And over the
Mm.
years, we've had a lot of experiences trying to balance those and like find where where equilibrium is.
No, that's really not what you've tried to do. You haven't tried to find any equilibrium. You know what you did, man? And this whole section really annoys the shit out of me because he makes it seem like it's this fucking like angel on one shoulder, demon on the other shoulder, like fucking scales of justice bullshit. Like, motherfucker, you have never listened to good players. You have never listened to good players on almost anything throughout the entire history of you working on the game and then being a fucking, even before that, being a content creator. Don't hit me with this bullshit where, oh, I'm having a hard time determining who to listen to. You didn't fucking listen to any of the good players, man. You didn't. And it's plainly obvious that you didn't. Because if you had actually listened to fucking competent good players, I wouldn't be sitting here for 5+ fucking years gnashing my fucking teeth, wondering what the fuck you're doing and wondering why you look like such an idiot every patch. And breaking down every fucking description of a patch note that you write in every patch. If you actually were listening to fucking, like, it's so bizarre. And, he keeps it kind of ambiguous here, but at the same time, he doesn't. Now, there's a part of me, too, that thinks maybe when we go on here, you can apply that same shit. Let's go back and listen to that again and apply that in two different ways, right?
16. You're starting. What might you say to yourself to give yourself an edge, other than like lottery numbers and predicting the future?
I would honestly, um, I think a lot of it would be telling myself who to listen to and who not to.
Okay.
There,
Okay.
yeah, I don't want to, like badmouth
Of course.
certain aspects of the community too much, but it's like community members in particular.
Interesting.
There's some voices that are very helpful, and some voices that are very much like no, this is mine, don't touch it.
Okay. So with that said, people who are very helpful, people who obviously, if I'm working on a game and I'm actually trying to make my game better, which this hypothetical scenario is really hard to apply to Rel because he is incapable of understanding what will actually make his game better because he doesn't understand what the fuck game he's developing, right? So that already makes it really hard. And then you get into a situation where you have multiple sides of the community bickering back and forth about stuff, right? So the very first problem you have is when you can't even agree on what the fuck genre of the game it is that you're working on playing or developing, right? So when we can't even get to fucking step 0.5, which is determining that the game we are playing and developing and working on is a first person fucking shooter game, that's a major problem, all right? So anyway, to get more into the people that don't want, now a shitter, you can look at it from both sides because it's mine, don't touch it. A lot of shitters, a lot of retarded casuals and shitters will obviously look towards a player like myself or any other popular fucking heavy assault players, streamers, players in general that would play the game, and they would say, bam, there it is. That's the guy that says, don't touch my thing, right? And I mean, I guess you have a point because I've been saying don't touch my thing for, I don't know, how many times have you nerfed that class? 7, 8 times? The most nerfed class in the game? And this is a common thing that you hear from shitters, is that which it still to this day fucking hurts my brain to think, like, we're all logging in still, and I'm playing this class, right? This is the most hated class in the game that shitters and people who a big problem for PlanetSide 2, I really think, is the heavy assault class. And it's not, I think, for the reasons that casual shitters think it is. Casual shitters hate heavy assault because it reminds them that they might actually have to learn the game slightly or do something different other than run around and vaguely put their mouse on someone and hold mouse 1. Now, when you're a casual shitter and you can't even invest, I don't know, a nanosecond of time into understanding and learning the game that you're trying to get into and play, the heavy assault is the permanent in-game reminder that you are a shitter casual. Ultimately, that's what the class is. That's what heavy assault is, right? So then, on the other end of the spectrum, at the end of time, at the end of the game's development, everything, which I think we can fairly say that we're at now, heavy assault is probably, without question, the most nerfed class in the game, whether it be by significance, as in hard numbers and percentages and metrics, or the sheer quantity of the nerfs that have occurred. So when shitters and casuals come out and say, and people like Rel would say, they're very protective over their playstyle, don't touch my thing. Well, I guess you would have a point, because it's always something that we've said, but your argument kind of fucking falls apart massively when you look at the reality of the situation. No matter how much we said don't touch our thing, you still touched it as many times as you could. No matter how many times we tried to argue or defend or, present metrics or show anything. Anytime we try to defend the position on, and it doesn't just have to be heavy assault, it can be anything. Anytime you have a rational fucking sane person that isn't some dumb casual fucking moron shitter who's just endlessly whining about something because he can't be asked to fucking learn the game he played, right? Anything outside of that, man, it's like, oh, look, they're crying about what we've done to the, like I said, you might have a point about protecting our stuff, but most of the really good players who play the game and have specifically had their play style attacked and nerfed over and over again simply because they are good at the game, all had very good reasons in trying to defend what you ended up gutting, which is a lot of things. But at the end of the day, no matter what you did, it still didn't matter, right? It still didn't matter. Because the same people like that fucking moron fucktard Buildzoid who logs into the game and can't play Infantry at all because, whoa, shocker, he's not an FPS player. Wow, you put a fucking non-FPS player into an FPS game and he doesn't like the gunplay. Wow, he doesn't like the gunplay? That's crazy. Well, guess what? Who gives a shit what that guy thinks? He's not a fucking FPS player. So if a non-FPS player comes into my game and starts complaining about things that are, I don't know, in the sphere of the FPS universe, I don't really give a fuck. I don't really care what your feedback is. I don't care. And that's this guy's problem. This guy's so over time has been dead center fucking focused on, and he mentions it in this, broadening the fucking well and trying to get people who have no fucking business. And this is a new age dev thing too. They're so obsessed with broadening the appeal of their games just to get, I gotta get more players. 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 And they don't stop to think for one fucking minute about the things they do to the game in an attempt to gotta get more players. Gotta get more players. Gotta broaden the appeal. Broaden the appeal. Gee, how did H1Z1 fucking die, man? And this is extremely pertinent. And it's extremely important that we understand this because this fucking moron worked with the guy who ended up. This guy also. This Deeg defends the guy because he's friends with him and he's been on his podcast. But the fucking guy Cardo, who's responsible for the combat update, basically, now he knows. And if go look at the interview with Cardo, right? Go look at the fucking interview with Cardo. In the interview with Cardo, he says, we need to understand when the game is no longer ours, right? So all this shit about broadening the appeal and changing the fucking game and nerfing specific classes over and over and nerfing specific guns over and over and nerfing specific playstyles over and over and over and over to try to broaden the appeal to fucking casual shitters who don't care about your game in the first place, who don't care about your game in the first place, who don't fucking care in the first place, and instead you might get one of those guys to come and play the game for, I don't know, 10 fucking minutes. You might get somebody to log in and play for one time in the whole fucking year. And then you just piss off your hardcore players who've spent 10 fucking years in the game and have given you thousands of dollars and have some kind of brand loyalty. You don't care about them anymore because you're only cared about the new casual fucking shitter. And that's one of Rel's biggest fucking problems, is all he did the entire time he was in charge. I don't want to hear about this dumb shit about how he has so-called fucking good players from in the secret whatever Discord bullshit. All that shit is so fucking dumb and retarded anyway, man. Most of the people in that Discord are fucking shitters too. Don't get it mistaken, okay? So you have a lot of dumb shitters in his ear all the time. Who the fuck do you think he listened to? I don't want to ever hear this argument. The resulting game that we have now is because you listen to all the dumb, fucking retarded casual shitters who are constantly in your ear. Because for damn fucking sure, you didn't listen and you have not been listening to the best players and the players who play your game the most and understand it the best. You didn't listen to those players fucking ever. And if it was, let's take, for example, even if it was a patch where you listened to the core idea, which we have two major examples of that in the last fucking year. Let's take, for example, the Nanoweave change. What did you do the first time with Nanoweave? Oh, you listened to fucking retarded shitters who whine about people with medkits out. So what did you do? You lowered the move speed by 10% on Nanoweave when you equipped it. Okay, that did absolutely fucking nothing. But you know why you made that change? It's because you listen to fucking retarded shitters who don't know anything about the game and don't understand why they die. If you die to someone who's medkitting, you had to get outplayed a minimum of 4 fucking times to die to the guy with a medkit out. So no, when I was still playing with the 10% reduced speed Nanoweave, you know what I did? I still farmed the same fucking people, and I still killed the same retarded shitters you made that change for. So anyway, let's move on. Okay, we figured out, man, my change isn't having the effect I wanted because I listened to shitters. Man, I listened to shitters, and the change that I wanted to make didn't have the effect that I thought it would. All right, well, let's just, let's ignore everything else that they're fucking saying, and let's just get rid of it completely. In the same patch that we buff all these retarded-ass fucking DMRs, we're buffing shotguns 3 times in the same patch. Hell, we're even adding an ammo type that promotes people shooting people in the legs because, you know, it's just way too fucking hard to shoot people in the upper chest and the head. Okay, that's one example of I don't listen to fucking anybody but shitters, and then when I did listen to shitters and it didn't work out, I got mad and just did my own thing, which was retarded anyway. That's example number 1. Example number 2. Oh, good players have been complaining about maxes for 10 fucking years, and I've never lifted a fucking finger to do anything, because if I'd lift a finger to fucking do anything and listen to good players, I might piss off whiny, casual, fucking retarded shitters who can't play the game without a max. Oh, okay. Okay, well, I don't care anymore because I'm quitting and leaving. So let me throw the good players a bone. Let me fucking I don't know. Let me nerf the headshot multiplier, which is really fucking kind of who cares on TR and VS maxes. Who gives a shit? Really doesn't make that much of a difference. What else am I gonna do here? Oh, I'm gonna take away their ability to be revived because, man, good players have been asking forever for, I don't know, why are maxes revivable? I don't understand. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, good job. You took away the ability for maxes to be revived, but then, in order to, like, apologize for or counteract, You could have had a good patch on your hands that actually made some progress, but you're so deathly afraid of the fucking the response from casual retarded shitters. You lowered the nanite cost. And by lowering the nanite cost by 100, what you did was you doubled the potential pull rate. You doubled the pull rate of someone pulling a max who doesn't even have membership bonuses. So, wow, good job, man. So even when you supposedly went ahead and listened to good players, you either fell back and got too scared of actually listening to them, and you still kind of half listened to fucking retarded shitters, and your change ended up being fucking completely moot or stupid, or you just fumbled kind of the whole thing. Whereas if you would just do it's okay, trust me, Rel, for your next job, if you ever work in the industry again, because you probably won't because you're terrible at it, when you go into your next job, if God forbid you work on an FPS game, you can't listen to people like Lanzer, or Mr. Highfield when it comes to balancing infantry mechanics or talking about maxes, right? You can't listen to those people. You can't listen to people who, like Buildzoid, who post on Reddit or sit in his fucking stream with a couple hundred viewers. If you don't know, Buildzoid is a guy who got his fame from overclocking PC components. He's really good at that stuff and training memory time. He's really good at that stuff. But he's a casual fucking shitter when it comes to playing games. He's not very good. And if you've ever watched him play PlanetSide, he's not very good at the game. But he complains incessantly about the gunplay of the game and sits in a fucking vehicle 24/7. Because people that are shit at infantry and the gunplay of the game, because they're shit players, they hide in vehicles for the rest of time. And, I mean, if there's any bigger truism, then I don't know what it is. If you see a vehicle player who's not like an air-to-air player that sits in a vehicle 24/7, there's like a 99% chance that player is hiding in that vehicle because he's dog shit at infantry. Just saying. Anyway, so yeah, getting back to, Rel, my advice to you, man, your advice to yourself, knowing who to listen to, I think that's correct. But I think, I'm not 100% sure this is who you're talking to, or who you're talking about, but you can't listen to casual shitters. The last person you ever want to listen to when it comes to this kind of stuff is casual shitters, because casual shitters are not invested whatsoever. They're not. They come back for your little stupid shitty updates, and they play them for 5 minutes and leave. Look at Deeg. Look at the guy on the left-hand side. Deeg has played maybe, 10 hours of PlanetSide in the last 2 years, but he tries to defend you every time I get in a conversation about this. Him and his friend Maxentius, his other casual gamer dad shitter friend that come back and play the game for 10 minutes every 3 years, they like Rel a lot because Rel's whole ideal is centered around attracting people like this. He's going to put out some low-effort, dog-shit, retarded content that gets fucking casuals, that gets their fucking dicks hard because, oh my god, it's something new. Oh, it's so great, it's always something new. It's always something new. Because these people are really fucking easy to entertain, man. These people are easy. These people are so fucking easy. You put a stupid cosmetic in the game. Oh my god. Oh my god. You do a little fucking stupid holiday event with stupid bundles so they can get a new version of a gun they've araxed fucking 15 times already. And they're just bot NPC consumers. That's what they are. And this guy, he leans into it. But at some point, those people, we're 10 years into the game. Those people are falling off now. And the people that you had at your core who've been playing the game at the beginning, who have a vested interest in playing the game and seeing the game succeed, now you're spending so much time trying to appeal to people that are not actually fucking going to play your game, that you're alienating all the current people who are playing the game 10 years in and like what they're doing 10 fucking years in. Like Osher. Who the fuck is Osher for? I don't know. Because you might think it's for... I think Osher's for the 2013 player that doesn't play the game anymore. Or the 2023 player who still thinks it's 2013, like Lanzer. People that are so isolated and so in their own fucking echo chamber. They're the casual shitter echo chamber, which this guy's the king of the casual shitter echo chamber. You guys are this guy lashed out against the criticism against Osher, calling echo chamber, when the entire time, man, you have been the guy in the echo chamber. This guy has been in the fucking echo chamber since YouTube. Since he was on YouTube making loadout guides for shitters and telling them to put flash suppressors on their fucking guns for new players who already can't play the gun, play the game. And then when a good player comes in and replies and tells you how you can make this loadout better for newer players and more simple, you immediately call him a troll. And then you're so fucking out of touch with reality that you call him a troll, and then a bunch of people come in and say, oh, he's actually not trolling, you're just stupid. And then he's like, oh, we've been fighting with this fucking retard for about 10 plus years now. The only person who's ever been in an echo chamber, Rel, it's you, man. Okay? It's been you the whole time. And you've been in your echo chamber, and you've been listening to people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about for 10 years. I don't know, man. The game is in the state it's in right now because you listen to people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Now, how much of that actually comes from the community? I don't know. But apparently it's enough for you to make sure that future you comes back and says, don't listen to X, Y, and Z.
And over the years, we've had a lot of experiences trying to balance those and like find where where equilibrium is. And I think if I had some of that information earlier on, I probably could have weighted some of my decisions toward, but then we could make it all the way up to now, and we could be having the same conversation. I don't know. Hindsight's
So how do you?
2020, but also this, it's a bit of a mystery.
It's interesting.
Not really.
Interesting insight though. That's the one thing you would send back is what's the right?
Because if you had just listened to what all the good players in 2014 and 2015 and 2016 and 2017 and 2018 and 2019 and 2020 and 2021 and 2022 and 23, if you had just listened to those people and focused on the fucking core aspects of the game, and not just chase fucking casual shit or nobodies who aren't going to even stick around and play your game, would we have still ended up in the same spot? Who knows? But I can definitely tell you that if you had actually done that, I might actually be logging in and playing your game right now instead of doing a fucking recording of watching you try to defend 8 years of incompetence. I might actually be logging into your game right now playing. But I'm not doing that. Because when I go to log into your game right now, it's so fucking dead at this point because you've left Osher in the game. You guys left Osher in the game, and nobody wants to play Osher because everybody that wants to play Osher is stuck in 2013, and nobody wants to play 2013 Planetside. But you haven't done anything to that. You haven't disabled that. So at least when I log in or try to log in off hours, I can actually play the game without having to play on that fucking abomination of a fucking continent. But Osher's in the game, so yeah, I'm not playing the game. And what else? I might be on another continent, but all the cool tower fights that I want to go to are now these retarded capture the flag fucking fights that I don't want to play at. Cool. Or let me go to another base. Oh, there's 45 people camping the spawn room, and I'm the only one spawned in to fight them. Oh, I wade through 12 to 15 of them and get to the point, and there's 3 maxes and 4 tanks and 5 Sunderers parked on the point. Man, Zergs don't want to fight each other, but I'm going there to try to slow them down and fight them and get any kind of enjoyment I can out of it, but I can't even do that because these guys get to do whatever they want, and they get to have as many force multipliers as they want and whatever amount of pop they have. And my ability to fight those people is made even worse because you've nerfed the class I play 17 fucking times. So even in the last year, now when I kill a fucking dog shit ass player who can't even put his reticle on me most of the time, I get my adrenaline shield return is worse than the old rank 1. That's cool. Yeah, those are like 3 reasons why I'm not playing the game. right now. And I think if you had actually listened to anyone anyone that had remotely an ounce of common sense, none of that shit would be in the game, and some of those changes wouldn't have been made because they don't make fucking sense. And then you force out players like me who've been loyal and dedicated to playing your game for 10 fucking years and have invested thousands and thousands and thousands of hours into playing it. I'd be probably playing it with friends right now because most of the friends that I have made online in the last 10 years are all PlanetSide 2 players. And we were invested in that gameplay, in the infantry gameplay of your game, but you don't care about that. You don't care about what we're invested in. You don't care about what your veteran and hardcore players are invested in the game because you don't fucking care about those players. You care about Johnny fucking Casual. And that's all you've ever cared about. Because all you ever wanted to do was pump the numbers on your game. But you didn't respect the players that were already in your game and were on for the ride and signed up to do it. You never respected them for a fucking second. And you never respected them for a second because they all think you're a fucking idiot. So magically, it always comes back to this guy's fucking ego. And this guy has a massive, huge fucking ego that he got from being the #1 fucking PlanetSide 2 YouTuber, right? 70, 80,000 fucking subs for this fucking game. You know, the ego to make videos about thoughts on better gaming and all this other fucking nonsense. And anytime you were ever got caught calling him out on any of that shit, holy fuck. An army of fucking shitters would come after you with clubs, man. It's insane. So this cult of personality that you built, catering, and Sirius kind of does the same thing, because Rel and Sirius are two parts of the same fucking camp for me. They're like very mediocre, average, shitty fucking players, really, at their best. Except I think Sirius has way more of a playstyle than Rel ever had. If you ever watched Rel play the game, he had no playstyle whatsoever. Didn't really do anything well. Just kind of changed his mind on what to do every 30 seconds. And it really seems like the game is developed by that person. Somebody who doesn't really interact with outfit relationships, someone who doesn't really have an idea of what they want to do, when they log into a session, someone that just kind of fucking floats around in the game and does fuck all nothing. Yeah, to me, it certainly seems like the game is definitely developed by someone who logs into the game and does fuck all nothing the entire session. With all the things that I've seen added to the game, with all the gameplay styles that you can play the game with now, it certainly seems that way.
Advice. How do you know when someone is a good person to listen to versus not? How can you tell?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think it was something that was proven out over time.
Yeah.
Because people can, it's interesting.
I'm not sure what he doesn't really ever specifically say which side, but when he says it's been proven out over time, I think you and I both understand. Listening to casual shitters has not been proven to be the right thing to do over time, because we did that. And I know he tried to make the example of a balancing act, but this game, since this guy's been working on the game, it's never been a balancing act. It's always been one way or the fucking highway, baby. If it wasn't one way or the fucking highway, baby, I wouldn't have spent the last 5 years talking about this shit.
How quickly someone's tune can change after you do something that they're not excited about, right? So that's when true colors show up.
Interesting.
So I think that would be certainly very helpful. I wouldn't tell myself not to make stuff again. I just hope that I can make it better.
You can't, because no matter what you make, it's not a matter of making it better. It's not a matter of doing it better. It's a matter of, does what I'm fucking making make sense for the game that I'm making? Not, I can make, with Osher, can I make Osher better? Yeah, you can probably make Osher better. Can I do construction better? Yeah, you can probably do it better. But at the end of the fucking day, even if you can make it 10, 20, 30% better, which I don't even really know what that means, does it make sense in this game? And if it ultimately doesn't make sense to be in your game, or it doesn't make your game better at all, it doesn't improve anything in your game, then you're just pissing in the wind. So, what if, I mean, did the guy actually learn any lessons? Because I'm having a hard time telling if he actually learned anything.
Like, don't make the same mistakes.
Mhm.
If there was an update that would like really flopped, I could be like, maybe not that one. You know?
Yeah, but the problem is not, let's not do the update that really flopped. Let's try to understand why it flopped. And then when you take that information of why did it fail, why did it flop, like you could apply this to anything, any massive failure patch that we've ever fucking had for the game from this guy, man. If you could just understand why your changes fail or suck, then you can actually fucking fix them. But this guy has continued time and time and time and time again. There's no, I've said this for fucking years, man. This guy doesn't learn. This guy doesn't learn. If he learned, we wouldn't keep making the same fucking mistakes.
But aside from that, I don't know. I enjoyed working on the game. It was a lot of fun, and even like the community interaction stuff. There is so much more positivity than there is negativity, and a lot of times that's
Yeah, because you have an army of fucking people who will suck your dick. Because yours is a cult of personality.
very difficult to see, just through like social media and that sort of
Like, even look at it today. There are still people, even though we have complete clarity and we can see the results of what this guy has done and forced and pushed into the game over the last 2 to 3 years, there's still people to this day that will come and sit and comment on my fucking videos complaining about me complaining about the guy and defending this cocksucker. To this day, they still defend him to this day. It's indefensible. I've still got fucking people asking me, Lands are asking me to do a part 2 on the podcast so I can come on and have to fucking argue with someone who still will defend the indefensible. Like, it's insanity, man. It's insane. And the shit that I get met with, like when I have to argue it against Deeg in our interview, he keeps bringing up fucking fourth faction NSO, man. Like, it's so fucking tiresome. And that's why I'm at the point where I am now. There are so many people that are still defending this fucking moron who has put the game in this position. You deserve the game to be dead. This game, if those are going to be the people that are left playing the game, then 1000% let this fucking game die. Let this game fucking finally put this motherfucker in maintenance mode. It needs to die. Because if the only players that are left are the same ones that are going to suck this guy's dick for 10 fucking years and apologize and defend what this guy did to the game, let it fucking die. Then you guys 100% deserve the game that you have right now, and you deserve to be the last little fuckers logging in your stupid little Zerg fit platoon and having nobody to fight against. But, man, I guess that really wouldn't be that much different. You know, I always used to say, when I'm playing against these fucking retarded shitball Zerg players, man, I would always be like, you could put these dumb motherfuckers on Jaeger or some empty-ass server with not another single fucking player on it, and they would play the fucking game the exact same fucking way. And that's what they're going to be playing when the game is... There's literally nobody left, but they'll still be logging in, typing in the fucking Yell chat. I guarantee you that
Right.
much.
Sure.
But in game, man, the amount of messages that I get sent, just whispers very specifically, like, hey, thank you for making the game. Like,
You didn't make You didn't make it. You didn't make the game.
Or like, that update was awesome. And it's like thank
That's
you.
cool.
I don't like
That's
it
nice.
didn't seem that way when, looking at these other
Really?
channels. But yeah, yeah. But yeah, so there's a lot I feel.
Congratulations, man. You have the adoration of the ignorant fucking casual. Congratulations, dude. Oh, and of course you have that. Because you've spent the last 7 fucking years sucking the ignorant casual's dick and making the game as brain dead as possible for that player. Of course they fucking love you, man.
That
Don't you think, well, can't you have a moment of clarity and look at it and be like, the most ignorant, awful players in the game love me, but the best players in the game despise me. I wonder what that means. If you ever just sat down, I wonder if he would ever just sit down there and think about that. Just take 5 good minutes and think about that. What do you think he would come away with?
isn't
You think there's a reason that every actual good player thinks that you're a fucking moron, and every person who doesn't know anything thinks you're a genius?
that isn't easily surfaced when we have so like Reddit's down right now, right?
Yeah.
As you're well aware.
Yeah.
I have removed myself from the Planet2 Discord, so
Okay.
I don't know anything. I'm just kind of been like trying to distance
some
myself
distance.
and like
Yep.
focus.
A lot of fucking retards on that Discord.
So I wonder how they're dealing with test material, that sort of thing. Is
Like all those fucking things you push to test server and you never bothered, you didn't change a single fucking thing about them. How many times did that happen?
super useful.
Feedback for this guy was always like, it got to the point where you would still want to have your voice heard, so you would still say what you wanted to say. Like, you would say your piece on the feedback, but you just knew that it didn't matter, because whatever this guy wanted to do, he was going to listen to the casual shitters that were in his ear, and oftentimes the casual shitter in his ear was just his casual shitter brain, right? And it didn't matter. And you do get to that point where it's a source of a lot of apathy for me over the years, because I'm someone who's I've been giving feedback on the games realistically since 2014, and how much of it was ignored, and that there's a lot of players just like me, it's just ignored. And there's people that give feedback better than I do that are in the same camp. And there's people that give feedback worse than I do in the same camp. And it doesn't seem to matter, because even at the points where we would submit things that were like really fleshed out, there's specific people who would be able to do that, right? To really send like our best top man to make the case for something, or why a specific change in a patch didn't make any sense, or here's the reality of it actually. And at the end of the day, it's like it didn't matter at all, because this guy was never going to listen. He might see it. Sometimes I assume I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he read it or saw it, but at the end of the day, it never mattered. It didn't. And when you constantly deal with that year after year after year after year after year after year after year, you guys that have only played the game for 3 years you guys have a hard time understanding the level of apathy and the real feel for a lot of us guys who have been in the trenches fighting this fucking shit for as long as we have, like trying to actually make the game better. for you, like the next generations of people coming into the game. We've been fighting for a long time because a lot of the shit and the problems that you deal with now every day, things we were complaining about and trying to get fucking dealt with 5, 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. But as you can see, there is a limit to how much we're willing to fucking not be listened to and ignored, and how bad the game can actually get before we stop playing. And a lot of us had a lot of patience, more patience than probably I ever thought most people would have. But I think honestly, most of the players like me are done now for sure. And it was definitely the last 2 years that did it in. So man, I guess Rel, you should be happy. Your ultimate goal of making all the players like me and my friends quit the game, you succeeded, man. But at the same time, you ruined the game for everybody else. So I guess there's that.
Sure. Quality of good feedback. How do you get it? How can you tell? You mentioned before that when a person changes their tune or their attitude towards you because of you doing something that they don't like, that's sort of a tell. Like, okay, like maybe this person isn't being honest, forthcoming, or maybe they don't even know what they want.
Yeah, most casual ignorant shitters don't have any idea what they want. Newsflash, they don't know. You know why they don't know? Because they don't know anything about the game, or they don't know enough about the game to understand that the things that they're asking for, like all these fucking retarded shitters who ask you to double the HP of everyone in the game. They don't know what they're asking for. How are you going to ask to double the HP of everyone in the game, and then yesterday you're complaining about heavy assault is OP? If you struggle, if you're not mechanically good enough and you struggle with heavy assaults in the current stage that they are in now, how do you think you're going to fare against everybody in the game having twice as much HP as they have now? Maybe you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Or they're trying to manipulate us. So don't need to listen to that. Are there other tells of either a source of good feedback or a source of bad feedback when it comes to all this?
So I think a lot of it has to be tempered with. So backlash is one thing, and it can be very difficult to discern what is noise and what's going to blow over, and what actually has merit. So back when initially there was some construction changes, proposed, the construction community kind of blew up about it. And despite
It was like 4 people that constantly made posts on the Reddit, and this is bot zombie. Look at him. This bot zombie just did an about fucking face, and it was like, I can't, bro. Like,
being
what the
fairly
fuck?
small, they were very, very vocal, which they
Mhm.
don't tend to be.
Mhm.
It was, to me,
But I have a problem with that too, because the reason the infantry community is so vocal is because you're so fucking stupid and you make so many fucking dumb changes and you ignore us all the time. And you constantly make the infantry game less fun to play. That's why we are so vocal. And we are so vocal over time because almost all of your fucking major updates have made the infantry game less fun to play. So yeah, when you have a constant cadence of making the infantry game fucking worse and a listening to shitters and ignoring all your best players, and you go time and time and time and time again, oh, those infantry players, they're always complaining. Maybe we're always complaining because you're constantly fucking the game up and making it worse for us to play. I don't know. I know there's some people who complain just to complain, but most of us are out here complaining because you're making our fucking playing experience worse every time you touch the game.
very clear in the signal that they were sending, and then also some of the apprehensions that I was having about like doing kind of a partial update. So the
You know, If only the same apprehensions you had for the construction people had happened to any of the dozen times that you fucked with the infantry.
The result was like, yeah, I don't feel super great about this either. Yes, it would probably be a net positive, but at the same time, there's probably some level of disruption. If we didn't receive any community feedback.
But he doesn't do that. Because we would give all the feedback in the fucking world every time. Every time a patch would be announced on PTS, you'd have Reddit threads and people would be talking through it, giving feedback for it. This guy fucking whatever, just jerking off, wouldn't fucking touch anything, do anything about it. Didn't care. He just ignored us.
It would have been like,
and then wonders why, somehow is confused about why people don't like him or think he's a moron or think he's incompetent. It's like you are literally ignoring the most relevant section of your game's player base. That's the infantry. So I'm sorry, fucking vehicle players. It's not a fucking vehicle game. It's not. It's not. Vehicles are a fucking side minigame for people who can't play infantry. Sorry. It's always been that way. It always will be that way. It's a fucking infantry game. Okay? Vehicles don't cap points. And don't give me the dumb shit about parking a lightning on the fucking A point at fucking Snowshear. Like, suck my dick.
It's a net win. Let's just do it.
The game is about infantry. Period. End of story. And the sooner you morons, you dense fucking morons, get to that point, and we can all fucking come together and understand that, then we can have a better game. Okay?
Good.
Let's do it. Yeah.
But since there was like a strong backlash from a portion of the community that is not constantly hammering us with,
they're not constantly crying wolf.
Nonsensical feedback. You, buddy, you don't know what nonsensical feedback is. You're not capable of parsing what is and isn't nonsensical feedback. I've watched you develop and make patch notes and make changes to this game for a long ass fucking time. And dude, you are fucking clueless when it comes to parsing relevant feedback. You are probably, maybe Dice comes close, but you're the biggest fucking moron I have ever seen work on a game when it comes to parsing relevant feedback. And I've been playing games for fucking, I don't know, since 1992, 91, 90. Like, I've been playing fucking video games for a really long time. And I've never met someone or seen someone so far up his own fucking ass and so clueless and out of touch with reality. And it's insane to me. It's actually a perfect microcosm of the average PlanetSide 2 shitter. The average PlanetSide 2 shitter well represents them perfectly, because here's someone who's played the game for 10 plus fucking years and still has no fucking functional clue what he's playing or doing. It's actually perfect.
Exactly.
You don't know what nonsensical feedback is, my dude. You don't. You don't. Because I've watched you act on nonsensical feedback. And I've seen things fucking nerfed and changed based on nonsensical feedback from shitters for almost a decade now. Or at least in terms of you, 6-7 fucking years. I've watched that, dude. You don't know the difference between real feedback and nonsense feedback. For you to even to say that is it's such a fucking joke, man.
It was very easy to say, like, okay, cool, we're gonna hold on to these changes.
And construction players don't offer nonsense feedback. Holy fuck. Before I move on, can we just stop and pause and park the car for a fucking minute? Pull over the car on the side of the road and put your hazards on and take a breather. Construction players in PlanetSide 2, people who are playing fucking PlanetSide 2 to build fucking retarded ass bases that achieve nothing in the game, they don't give nonsense feedback. I feel like my fucking skin is gonna melt off my fucking face, dude. Like, holy fuck.
We'll just ride it out for a while we do something that's more holistic, and then construction update.
Cool. Interesting. So
Oh,
it sounds like you just can't replace seeing what people do over time. Seeing what people do and say over time.
Yeah, I think so, because your community is also going to change too,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that it's probably something that's undervalued um, as well. Like when you play a game for 1,000 hours, 100 hours,
100 is a big difference between 1,000. 1,000 is 10 times 100. Okay, they're not the same.
maybe less. The ways that you enjoy that game very likely change over time.
Right.
When you look at, for example, World of Warcraft, I think that
Okay, I've played World of Warcraft for 20 fucking years. I'm real curious to hear his take on World of Warcraft, a game I've played for 20 years.
a lot of their so I look back at how some of the decisions in that game were handled, and it felt like they were trying to do some of the same stuff that we were doing with, like, when you simplify the talent trees so that they are like less deep, or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the problem that World of Warcraft encountered, right? The game launched, and then they determined that they needed to force accessibility because they wanted to pump the player numbers. And you know what happened? The peak of player accessibility in the early days was Wrath of the Lich King. And I've talked about this before. You see a steady, when the game first came out in 2004, here we go, subs. We get through Burning Crusade, holy shit, here we go. We get to Wrath of the Lich King. We get to the height of Wrath of the Lich King. We kill fucking Arthas, and then from there on out. And a lot of people will point to the general accessibility and dumbing down of the fucking game as much as possible for that being the thing. And I'll always believe that. And there's a reason I don't play retail anymore. I haven't played retail since like 2013 or some shit. Like, I'm just not interested because the game is so fucking watered down. Besides the raiding content, which has continued to get like super fucking hard or like complicated and complex. But even then, that's why retail has no appeal to me. That's why Classic still has a great appeal to me. It's because you log in with your friends, you get fucking world buffs, and you smash the fuck out of raid instances and collect gear. That's the whole fucking loop of the game. And not listening to fucking casual fucking retards who don't even raid complain about the difficulty because they go into somebody's stream, they go into a speedrunner's fucking stream in Classic and see the whole raid is fucking 20 Fury Warriors worth world buffs, and they get fucking butthurt. Oh my god, they're trivializing the content. They're trivializing Magmadar and Golmag and Molten Core. Oh my god. They killed the monster. They killed the boss in 15 seconds. I'm so mad. And it's some fucking retarded shitter who can't even level to 60. And some guy who doesn't even raid. And if he does raid, he's awful at the game. This is a perfect example of listening to people that you shouldn't listen to. So then Blizzard goes and listens to all these fucking whiny crybaby fucking retards who complain about world buffs and raids that they don't even partake in. And then they make Season of Mastery. And Season of Mastery, you get boosted leveling speeds and you level up, and they changed all the fucking, you can't have world buffs in raids anymore, and they made the raids difficult. Blackwing Lair, Molten Core, AQ40, Nax. They make all these raids, they change mechanics on bosses and all this shit, and guess what? Nobody fucking played it. Nobody played that shit. Nobody raided because nobody cares about that fucking shit. The only people who complain about raids in Classic being hard are fucking retarded casuals. And guess what? Nobody played it. Nobody fucking raided in Season of Mastery, man. No one fucking played the... It's a perfect example. And I love that he brings up World of Warcraft, man. Because I have extensive experience in this, and I've watched the same thing happen in this game.
Yeah.
Complex or whatever.
Yeah, fewer decisions.
It might make sense on paper because, easier to understand. This is what I get at this level. This is what, there's very clear builds that are created from it.
Yes, exactly. But do you guys wonder why, whenever there was a new fresh fucking Classic fucking private server, that's where all your players went? because people have an expectation of that. They have an investment in that, and they've spent time in learning the shit in that game. They spend time and they're invested in that particular game, and they know what they want to get out of that. And then you have a guy like this who will come into the game, and he'll be the guy that wants to like, oh, we need to simplify all the talent trees and all this shit and that. Great. But you're trying to do that shit to a community, and this is a major thing that this guy never understood, man. You have a core group of players who accept PlanetSide 2 for what it is and will play it until the end of time, as long as you don't fuck it up anymore. You have a set player base. You probably have a cap somewhere. Let's say your cap somewhere around where it was in Escalation, right? Which is the highest place that the game's been in a very long time. Set that as the cap, and set like 2019 fucking right before that as the floor. You're always going to have somewhere in there, and that's your buy-in. And where these people fuck up is they think they can make these like wholesale changes to core fundamental things in the fucking game to attract people that never wanted to play your game in the first place, or to bring players back, to bring players like Buildzoid back. This is something like, let's change the gunplay of the games to satisfy people like fucking Buildzoid so they come back and play the game for 6 fucking minutes. Don't realize that they're still dog shit at the game no matter what you do to the gunplay. You know, let's completely remove spread from the game so that brain-dead fucking morons can just put their reticle in a guy and hold mouse 1 forever. Okay? Let's do that. Okay, we've done that. We've completely removed an aspect of the skill gap from the game. Okay, now I log into the game and still fucking kill as many people as I want. I'm still farming dog shit ass players. They still get mad and quit. And then the dopamine hit I get from mastering that part of the gunplay, I don't fucking care anymore because it's gone. And now you've ruined that entire system for me. So now I leave. So the people that are bad at FPS games, who are going to suck dick no matter what, they still leave because they're playing PlanetSide and don't understand it's a fucking FPS game. And now I leave because you fucked up an aspect of the gameplay that I liked playing and was going to stick around forever to play. This is the problem, man. This is the problem. Is fucking accessibility and trying to make the game appeal to people who do not fucking care about it. I'm so sick and tired of seeing all these games do that. It doesn't ever help your game. And just look in studio, man. Your friend Cardo fucked up, and he ruined the aspect of the game that so many people that played that game enjoyed. And that game fucking tanked. That game was the golden goose and was printing money like a motherfucker, man. H1Z1 at its height in 2015 and 2016. That fucking game was printing money like a motherfucker. Everybody who's anybody was streaming that game on Justin TV and then Twitch TV. Fuck, Doc was just taken off. I remember watching Doctor play those fucking games in the early part of H1Z1, and the game actually looked fucking fun. But then you have these fucking brain-rotted fucking retards like this guy who come in and they see all the hype that the game's getting, and they're like, we gotta have more, gotta have more, gotta have more, gotta have more. We gotta make it more accessible. We gotta make it appeal to fucking people who don't even want to play our game. We gotta do this. We gotta do that. And you see this all over the fucking industry. You see it in the fucking fighting games that have come out. I used to play more fighting games, but then every fighting game became, oh, but we gotta make it easier for Johnny Casual to do this fucking combo so he can be the next Daigo. Like, fuck off. Stop listening to shitters and stop trying to appeal to shitters. It makes your game worse all the time. And it always ruins any depth or anything interesting that your game already has. And this PlanetSide 2, man, is another perfect example of that.
Mm-hmm. Every selection has a clear outcome. It's not murky what things do.
Right.
Get this ability if you click this talent. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Exactly. Yeah, from that perspective, it makes sense that would be a course that they try to travel down.
Mm-hmm.
And some parallels that I would say for PlanetSide 2 would be I guess would be things like combined arms, where the goal was, make vehicles more accessible to everybody, make it so you feel like you can actually fight back, that you aren't just getting insta gived.
Yeah. Some time to
And
kill. Hmm.
right, and the the certain aspects.
Yep, and you know what? You didn't listen to any of the good players when you did that. You didn't listen to fucking any of them. You listened to fucking casual shitters who were even bad in vehicles, and they cried. You listened to them, and look what you did. Look what you did. You ruined the game for the good players, and the fucking shitters who wanted to try to play vehicles, they weren't going to play your game anyway, and they don't stick around anyway. So that should have been the first crystal clear example of don't listen to fucking retarded shitters. Combined Arms Initiative should have been the fucking canary in the coal mine.
Aspects of the community that are going to kind of like push back on that sort of thing. Hey, we like it how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't listen to them either. You didn't listen to them again, and that was a long time ago. You didn't listen.
At the same time, we push things in like too far in one direction in an attempt to try to like reclaim or like hold on to some of that audience, and try to make things easier for more players, try to like broaden our scope. Yeah,
you guys are obsessed with accessibility and broadening a scope. You can't broaden a scope for a fucking niche game with 2,000 players, man. It's not gonna fucking happen.
It's all an attempt to hold on to the players that you have, or the most players, and then also try to open the funnel further so that more players can come in.
Right on.
Because that's what sustains.
Right on. That's what sustains the game. No, that's what fucking ruins games. And that's exactly what has happened to dozens and hundreds and thousands of fucking games, man. And right on. You know why you say right on? Because you don't fucking appreciate anything that had to do with mastery in playing this game, man. That's why you say right on. Because you guys are dipshit casuals who play a game for an hour a fucking week. You don't care. You don't actually care about the game. Right on. Of course you want every game to be like this, so you can have a chance to play it. So there's zero fucking buy-in for you to ever have to learn or do anything. You can just log in and be the same and be as good as everybody else right away. That's what games you want to play. And that's what games this fucking moron wants to make too. Which is why one of the main reasons why I always hated him as a developer for this game.
It's a game. And then over time, you see.
It's okay to try to get new players to play your game, but man, this game we've spent so much fucking time trying to suck off the new player. Hello. That we've spent so much time trying to suck off the new player and erode the game that people know how to play, and all your veterans and our like, for what? For what? To get a guy who's going to play the game for 7 hours and then quit, man? Like, enough. Stop it. Why didn't we learn the first fucking 12 times we tried to do this shit?
World of Warcraft kind of like hone in again, or kind of like backtrack on some of the talent tree stuff.
They've really narrowed. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. And I feel like their community has kind of changed over time to where it's, I don't
No, the WoW community plays WoW Classic.
know any of the numbers, okay? But I would
Nobody's playing retail.
imagine that with just the kind of the decline in numbers, as all games tend to do,
You're also, by the way, making a comparison between a game that has hundreds of millions of players and a game that has like maybe a couple thousand. They're not the same.
Kind of narrowing in on your core.
See, WoW can do that, and they have done that over time. You don't get to do that because you have so few fucking players that if you fuck up majorly, which you have in the last 2 years, and that's why you're seeing the game die right now because of that. Your fuck ups, by the way, not the community. You can't blame this on the community, man. Your changes in the last 2 years, your big fucking ideas, are why the game is dying right now, okay? You can't make those kinds of changes because you only have a couple thousand players. You can't alienate 1,000 of those players with the retarded dumbass changes that you make, dude. World of Warcraft can afford to do that. You can't. You're not the same. You're getting a little too big for your britches, dude.
The player.
You're just an out of touch fucking moron who failed upwards into a lead creative design role for a dead flailing fucking game, FPS game, and you don't even understand that that's what you're making.
The players that are going to like stick around and what they want, like
Yeah.
they are now the majority. What
Yeah.
they want is going to be different from that funnel that you were trying to open earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So walking back to, you know, like more complex builds, like that's the audience that you're now catering to. And I feel like Planet 2 ended up there too, to where things have gotten smaller, especially within the past year, I would say, to where probably doesn't make sense to really try to capture the new players. We already tried it with the new player experience update.
My dude, you have spent your entire fucking time working on the game, trying to fuck the game up and trying to dumb down everything in the fucking game for new players, dude. That is for me, always the number one thing why I dislike this guy is he tried to fucking take everything that I loved about the game and fucking ruin it for the sake of attracting people who don't even want to play an FPS game. The number one reason I will always fucking hate this guy as a game developer. That's it right there. This number one, more than anything, more than the not listening to feedback, man, was this guy's incessant fucking whining about the new player experience. Even all the way back to when he was on fucking YouTube, man. He has never shut the fuck up about new players in this game. And he has spent so much time trying to shit on the game in every theater, in vehicles, ground vehicles, air vehicles, infantry game, fucking you name it. This guy has tried to fuck up the game in order to help fucking new players, man.
Right.
And it was never meant to be a silver bullet, but it was something that we spent a lot of time on in hopes that it would make things better. And realistically, it's hard to say how much help.
It didn't help. It didn't do anything, except you pissed off a whole bunch of people who actually had time invested and cared about your game.
It actually did.
Yeah.
And even all the little changes over time, like the fact that it's
all
way
of
easier
them.
to gain
All
sorts
of them.
now, it's way easier to gain experience. It's it just there's so many tools that are around to help you like find an outfit. Outfits have reasons to like work together more often and blah 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 blah, blah. I think there's a whole bunch of like new loadouts or the default loadouts. Default loadouts for vehicles, like all of that sort of stuff.
Starting with a suit slot unlocked. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All that stuff is. There have been so many changes in an attempt to kind of like widen that funnel, and realistically, don't know how much it's actually helped.
Man, my brother in Christ, in 2016, when you started working on the game, I was telling you then, everybody I know was telling you then, we've been telling you the entire fucking time. But you know what? You don't listen. And you can't parse relevant feedback.
Yeah.
Which is a really...
We told you then it doesn't make a fucking difference, and I'm telling you today, and you haven't worked on the game in 6 months, I'm telling you today it didn't make any fucking difference. The only thing it did was make your fucking game worse.
Weird. I think...
And you know why I know that? Because I watch it happen in so many other games, and it never helps. It's always a net negative.
That's got to be so frustrating.
Fighting. Yeah. I think you're fighting the age of the game at the same time.
Of course, we can always fall back on the game being old.
So...
Of course, it has nothing to do... It has nothing to do with the shit that you've done to the game. No.
Yeah. It starts to come down to like, okay, is this even worth doing anymore?
There are definitely things worth doing. Yeah, for sure. But if only you would have ever attempted anything actually worth doing.
And I don't know. I don't think anybody has a clear answer. And, World of Warcraft didn't either.
Yeah.
They were doing things that they thought were best, and then they're like, nah, we jacked up.
Yeah, but they still make way, 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 way more fucking money than you can even imagine. And that game still has way more fucking players than you can ever imagine. Probably Elwyn Forest on the hardcore realm on the East Coast right now in Hardcore Classic. Elwyn Forest probably has more players than your entire game has on right fucking now. And Elwyn Forest is a fucking Lobby starter zone. Okay? In Northshire Abbey and Elwyn Forest probably has more fucking players than your entire shitty game has on 5 servers right now.
We're gonna go,
Yeah.
kind of narrow back.
You're not
Okay.
even remotely
Yeah,
the
totally,
same. Just
totally.
stop.
You know, PlanetSide is probably like my favorite game to stream. I don't know, there's something about it, like you can be in the moment, but also kind of detune a little bit, so you can pay attention to
Hey, you guys are both completely detuned to reality together.
chat, have a conversation, bullshit a little bit. Also, I just like the game, but I think that one of the things that tends to come up when I stream it is people will have little fun, like little design what ifs, like what could PlanetSide do to get more people, or how could we fix this problem, or how could we do this? And I hear this all the time when I'm streaming PlanetSide, and it's usually from people I know who show up on most of those streams and just want to hang out and have a level discussion about the game without raging at all. And the thing I've arrived to, I remember the last time I made a piece of content where I was like, I think PlanetSide should do this, and it was where I was kind of proposing the idea of a smaller scale, a narrowed down PlanetSide 2 product. Like the idea, like PlanetSide 1 had continents like post shattering Osher with special rules. Like you couldn't use heavy assault weapons on it. PlanetSide 2, maybe you have special continent, a small one with a special rule set or win condition with equipment restrictions. You kind of use all the PlanetSide toys to set up a set piece interaction that's different from normal
Yeah, we had that already. It's called Jaeger.
alert PlanetSide. That was my last idea. And since then, what I've come to is kind of similar to what you're talking about, which is like PlanetSide 2 like rolled the dice in like 2011 and 2012, and it's always going to be a first person shooter where you're stuck playing with 1,000 other people, whether you like it or not. And every single one of those people has the opportunity to affect the way your session goes, for better or for worse. And that's a niche game, I think.
Right.
I think that is just like a very particular flavor. And it's a very particular flavor that still requires a massive number of people. Again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, how it's just like a tough thing to do. And for PlanetSide to change in some way, for to change any of those things that seem like they've been set in hindsight.
Yeah, weird how what the game that Deeg just described doesn't need anything to do with a social hub or construction, building your own base. Doesn't have anything to do with that. I mean, the game already has bases. It has, 4 continents, fucking or shit ton of it has continents that already come with bases built on them for you to play on. So, and there's like hundreds of them. So why did the players need to be able to build their own bases? I don't really know why. Why did the game need a social hub? For what reason? Because I mean, you log into the warp gate and you fucking go to a continent and get into the battle and play the FPS game. Why did it need a social hub? Why did the game need a bastion? Why did the game need any of that? It's just because. And you're doing the want to haves before the need to haves. I mean, we need to have a game that can run well on even because you know for damn sure that people are hanging on to their 7 and 8-year-old fucking PC hardware and still complain about performance in every game they play. So, performance needs to be addressed. The server, how bad the servers run needs to be addressed. The overall fairness and the overall balancing of the fucking numbers game needs to be addressed in some way. The over-reliance on force multipliers and overpopulation and medic ball spam and revive, shit like that needs to be addressed. The invisible one-hit kill man class needs to be addressed. There's things that obviously need to be addressed, like certain sections of certain continents need to be touched up on and reworked a little bit to be made better. Certain bases need to be touched up on and reworked and made a little bit better. Yeah, we got to find a way to tie in, what is success on one continent? How does that spill over or lead over into the next continent or the next alert? Some kind of reason to where everything doesn't just seem like I'm just playing a session-based shooter, because I've had people for a decade tell me that it's not the same. It's not just a session-based shooter, but other than the fact that I can instantly teleport to another continent and do the exact same thing I'm doing on this continent, what's the fucking difference? If only, like, fundamental things and things that actually fucking matter were ever attempted to be addressed. Ever. Instead of this bloat filler nonsense for brain dead fucking 4-second attention span casual shitters. We might have a fucking real game here, but I'm gonna call it there on this part. I've gone on too long here. I was trying to keep it at an hour, but there was so much to say in this section, because this particular section is like really near and dear to my heart. And hearing this guy say some of the things that he says about it, it pisses me off, and there's a lot of things that have to be said about it. So, yep, that's it for me here. We're at 43:33, and probably not too much. I might want to touch on this specific section here. I don't know how much. I will definitely talk about competitiveness and outfit wars. Other than that, I don't really care that much about what's said in this interview for the rest of the way. So, yeah, I will see you guys in part 3.